Everything I say really doesn't matter. What matters is the silence. The true teaching is in the silence. It's in the stillness. It's in what's not being said. So if you tune in on the silence, you'll start to understand what it is that's being conveyed. So treat this video as a meditation. Relax into it. Melt into it. Focus on the silence between my words. Silence is the highest teaching. Silence is the highest diksha, the highest blessing, the highest benediction. Silence has its own language. It speaks. And silence speaks very, very loudly. It's in silence that we discover true peace. It's in silence that we finally come awake to our experience. Silence is clarity. Silence is love. When you make room for the silence, love starts to grow from within. And it can become so intense that it starts to pour out of every pore of your being. And thus you see love everywhere. Silence is not the opposite of sound. When you find silence, true silence, you can be in the midst of chaos, and you are silence itself, the eye of the storm, stillness, peace. It's in acceptance that we find this silence as well. Because if we are resisting something in our lives, some thought, some emotion, some experience, some memory, we're only experiencing resistance. But when we finally just embrace it all, we're left with a very, very silent mind, because there's nothing to think about anymore. It's done. more of an observer rather than a thinker. You become more of a receiver rather than a taker. You become more of a giver. Silence starts to direct your life. Silence will show you how much someone else lives in the realm of their mind. Because you are this silence, you live in this silence, you're more able to help others who are trapped in Maya, illusions of the mind and the world. Because you are disillusioned. So it's very easy to tell who's trapped in illusions. Difficult part is getting them to open their eyes to see. It's hard enough to open the eyes, and another thing to open the heart. That's a whole different story. Silence is true bliss. And you're not bypassing anything. Because what you're not bypassing anything. Like, you're embracing it all, processing it all. You're just not getting lost in it all. That's the thing. Silence destroys everything that's not true. If it can't survive the power of silence, it's not true. It's not real. The silence can become so engulfing, so powerful. That you don't just want to sit with it when you're sitting or at home. You bring it with you everywhere. You want to be in another way of saying silence is the presence of God. You don't just wait until you get home. Can't wait to sit on my meditation cushion in front of my altar. No, everything becomes your meditation cushion and your altar. This is when it starts to become really about self-realization. It starts to become really about enlightenment, God realization. The silence is prayer. The silence is devotion. The silence is basking in truth. Living in the presence of God all the time. Silence keeps your awareness on God, which is just aliveness. And you start to see that everything is the Shakti of God. Everything is spirit in physical form. And there becomes no difference between the formless and the form. And you honor everything as God itself. Even people that are so asleep at the wheel, who do nothing but suffer and bring suffering to others. The best thing you can do is have compassion. and to live by example. And that frequency of God that you embody is the greatest service you can give the world. Because this discovery is what mankind has been looking for, what philosophers have been looking for, what religious leaders have either been looking for or trying to keep you from. What the marketplace fears, and what politicians don't want, is you to discover your freedom. Or a better way to say it is to discover that you are freedom. And there's no saying what you'll do. But it's definitely not inflicting pain on others. Because you realize you're just doing that to yourself. Why would you do that? So, to live in higher consciousness, to live in higher consciousness and to share it, is the greatest gift you can give. Trust. Trust me, bro.